Bim! Guess what? It's after 10 o'clock, quite a bit after 10 o'clock to be fair. And it's Sunday, and that could only mean one thing. I'm late. No. What a Week's News That Was is back for another week, only a couple more before the end of the year, and the format changes. How exciting is that? Apparently I'm online. Who knew? Well, anyone who's got... Yeah, okay, I know, I'm online. Calm down. Calm down, dear. It's a commercial. So yeah, we're online, and we are talking about the news of the week, and we're going to be looking at various different events from around the world. I'll give you my opinion on it. If you join us in the chat room, you can give your opinion as well. We'll either agree or disagree, and then we will move on and do something more interesting instead with our lives after it's finished. Usually goes on for about an hour or so. Hi T, hope you're good. Yeah, we'll see where it takes us. Now, I start off with the serious news, the scary news, and then I move on to the news which makes you go, or that kind of thing. So yeah, basically it's a super edition of hello Alan, hello, says Sean in between Alan's wave, so it's wave low. Hope you're both good. Yeah, we're on, and we are talking politics, well, and world news, wars, and everything else, because that's what we does. So, Monday, the 9th of December. There was a radio guy said today that it's the 15th of November. No, it's not. It's the 15th of December. Anyway, that's later on news. So the news. Rebels say Syria will be a country for all as parties start to break out in Damascus. Not political parties, actual parties. But parties in Syria involve people shooting guns into the air. Mine involves me blowing on my little thing. So yeah, people have different kinds of parties, don't they? US police arrest a man in Pennsylvania following a 5-day manhunt for the shooting of the CEO in New York, and it was at a McDonald's. The guy also later appeared in court, but we'll be going to that shortly. Jay-Z denies any wrongdoing, including the rape of a 13-year-old. It's all linked to P. Diddy's crimes. P. Diddy obviously currently in prison whilst he waits his trial. Israel, this is on Tuesday the 10th, Israel again take the law into their own hands, destroying Syria's fuel and warships, also bombing hundreds of military sites with to say they're organising a buffering zone, so basically doing a land grab. Everyone else has told them to stop doing it, but they've said basically we don't want the weapons that Syria had falling into the hands of Islamic extremists, which kind of makes sense, but it's Israel saying it, so it doesn't really make sense at all, does it? Again, it's just a buffering zone. Yeah, I think it is. A man accused of shooting in court is to be extradited to the New York. He's currently in court in Pennsylvania. Not currently, because it was Sunday night, even there. But he's in court and they're extraditing. I didn't know they had to extradite people from states. I know you have to extradite people from countries, but states, that's a new one on me. Benjamin Netanyahu is in court as well for corruption charges. He calls them ridiculous. I'm not a corrupt person. I'm a war criminal and a murderer of innocent people. Yes, Benjamin Netanyahu, you are indeed. Malibu wildfires, up to 6,000 evacuated due to strong winds and very dry conditions in Malibu, obviously. 11th of December, conviction of murder for father and stepmother after fleeing to Pakistan before the body of 10-year-old Sarah Sharif was found, having her father tipped off police whilst he was hiding in Pakistan. I mean, scum doesn't even come close to it. I mean, anyone who harms a child is scum, full stop. But anyone who harms their own child to the point where they die is absolutely... I mean, why don't we have the death sentence? Maybe it's time we bring that back. Never mind this assisted suicide nonsense. Let's just murder people like this. We don't need people like this on the planet. Poor Sarah, 10-year-old, not even lived a life yet, not even started to live a life yet, and slaughtered by the people who were meant to protect her. As were social services, the police, the schools. Everyone's let her down, and it's not the first time. Remember Baby P, remember all the other ones that have been killed by family, and everyone's like, oh yeah, we are aware of it, but we didn't want to, upset anyone or anything. No, nonsense. We need to stop innocent children being killed and abused by particularly the people who are meant to look after them. It is absolutely abhorrent that these things are still going on, and no one seems to be doing anything about it. Oh yeah, we'll do an inquiry, we'll look into it, we'll do this. It doesn't help the kids. I mean, no one can help Sarah now, but there are other kids in the same position, and these kids, I'm pretty sure social services, the schools and other people are aware, are in these positions, and someone needs to finally stand up. It doesn't matter whether they're white, black, Asian, whether they're from Pakistan, or whether they're from the Midlands, or whether they're from anywhere. It doesn't matter. Children are children, and they should be protected. And the fact that Sarah Sharif was murdered and her body left in a house for days on its own, there's no dignity in being murdered anyway. There's no dignity in dying as a child. But my God, the parents. Yeah, I think we should bring back the death sentence for people like them. Yeah, I know. Counterintuitive considering what I said about assisted suicide, but there you go. What can you say? Saudi Arabia win the total juxtaposition, win the 2034 FIFA World Cup bid. No one stood against them, but many object over the supposed sports washing. Basically, Saudi Arabia, the oil is going to stop making the money due to the fact that everyone's going electric, which isn't the way forward. It's hydrogen. So Saudi Arabia, what can hydrogen? Yeah, you'll make your millions again. So what they're trying to do is make money another way. So they're having massive boxing fights. They're having golf, the LV golf, whatever it was called, that messed up with the PGA, but now they've linked together. So they basically bought themselves into that. I mean, the whole thing is just a way of them continuing to make money. The problem is their human rights record is shocking. The World Cup that was held in where was it? I always forget the name of it. Not Yemen. Anyway, when the stadia were being built, they didn't care about the basically slave labour that were there. Many people died making these things just so these guys can get more and more richer. And I say guys because, let's be honest, women don't have much rights in these countries. Admitted they've got more now than they had because they can actually drive a car, but that's only in the last 5 years or so. It does scare me, the fact that all these cultures are kind of moving around the world and kind of infiltrating and slowly working their way through. Look at London, look at Sadiq Khan. It's just absolutely shocking. But anyway, Saudi Arabia wants to keep making billions and millions and billions of pounds, so they're doing it by buying themselves into sport. Rumours are they've even got themselves into a Formula 1 team, and obviously they've been buying football teams from around the world as well. So yeah, not very good. Wednesday, the 11th of December still. Were you aware, if you watched News at 10, and that's the only news you watched that day, that there was a mass protest in London with our British farmers, with hundreds and hundreds of tractors blocking Whitehall, going around the House of Parliament, going over the bridge there, over the River Thames even. Were you even aware of it? Well, if you watch BBC News, you wouldn't have a clue. They didn't mention it once. Admitted what's going on in Syria is absolutely, again, terrifying. Okay, they've got rid of a dictator, but what we got instead? We've got an extremist Islamic organisation, which is classed as a terrorist organisation by many governments, including the British government. And the BBC News at 10 went on for that for about 20 minutes. Not one mention of the farmers in London, in the tractors. Is the BBC not standing up for the people of Britain anymore? Is the BBC literally being pro-Labour government? I now watch BBC with a very small amount of trust. I watch GB News more, which is ironic because Clive Murray and all them are going mad about GB News. And again, I realise that they are completely right-wing. They have left-wing people on, and let's be honest, most of the time left-wing people are on, they're talking nonsense. But I kind of sit somewhere in the middle. So I'll watch the BBC News, and then I'll watch a bit of GB News, and then I'll figure out where I want to be in the world, and that's how it basically works for me. Yeah. It's, what else is going? Oh yeah, puberty blockers for under 18s are banned. Finally. I've been saying this for years. I mean, it's basically child abuse internally. You are sexual child abuse of people who've got mental health issues. If someone's 18 or over, they've gone through puberty, their brain's calmed down, the hormones have calmed down. Hopefully they've realised that, you know, who they want to be. If they still want to transition, then fine, you can do that. But you can't give pre-puberty children, because it physically messes with them. And I don't understand how it's been allowed so far. The thing is, and I've said this before, I've said this many times on this programme, but the thing is, there's a caveat. Outside clinical tests. You're like, what the are you on about? What do you mean? So, it's alright to inject puberty blockers into pre-teens if it's a clinical test. No, it's not. And I've said before, anyone who's advised, charities included, who've advised children to go for puberty blockers, people who've administered puberty blockers, and anyone who's allowed this to happen, including the parents, they should all be in prison. They should all at least be in court for child sexual abuse, because that's what it is. It's taking advantage of a vulnerable child for their own ends and their own things, that their own extreme thoughts that they think they should empower on people. No, finally they've banned them in the UK, but they should ban them completely. Anyway, God, this got deep very quick, didn't it? I've only been 12 minutes in and it's got very, very deep indeed. Meanwhile, on Thursday the 12th, the government will still say that they are rebels and prescribed terror organisation on the prescribed terror list. These are the people who've took over Syria. I do worry that Syria might go down the way of Afghanistan, where all women's rights have been removed. But they keep saying that they're not going to do that. They want to be treated differently than what they are being treated at the minute as a terrorist organisation. But we're still sending money to them. Body of Tom Boyce is found after being swept away in the floods of the storm at the weekend. Former international rugby player for the UK. He was driving home in the middle of the storm and misjudged a ford. A ford is where you actually drive through a river. It's still a road, but it's covered by a river. It's not a bridge going over the ridge. It literally goes through the river. He misjudged it, and his car was swept away. His car was found the following day, but no sign of him in it. People feared that he tried to get out of the car and then got swept away without the protection, I use the term loosely, of the car. Anyway, sadly, a few days later, his body was found. 9 years for Levi Fishlock. He's the guy who was in the protests. He was the one trying to set fire to a migrant hotel by using a wheelie bin and setting it on fire. A big industrial wheelie bin, not just a normal wheelie bin, by setting it on fire right in the smashed doorway of this migrant hotel, which is basically risking people's lives. I'm not into these riots. I never understood why we had them. I think that what Keir Starmer's done with the people who just turned up for the riots is, again, criminal, and I hope these people can get compensation in the future, a bit like the post office workers could do, for being imprisoned for texts or throwing a couple of stones or shouting at the police. However, this guy, Levi, I think deserves what he's getting. He's got 9 years in prison. because he was trying to burn down basically an asylum hotel with people in it. Absolutely ridiculous. Meanwhile, in America, Time magazine announced their Person of the Year. Yeah, a convicted felon. That's right, it's Donald Trump, the president-to-be. And Trump reckons he'll be the Person of the Year next year as well. Our standards have slipped, haven't they? And meanwhile, sad news that Duncan Norvell, chase me, has died at the age of 66. He was a massive comedian in the 80s and 90s. Very camp, but happily married to a lady. And he passed away after a long illness, only 66, which is not old at all these days. But yeah, his catchphrase was, chase me, chase me. And he I remember laughing at him a few times. Oh, with him, not at him. With him, there's a difference, I think. Yeah, there is. Getting very bright, isn't it? Is it warm in here? There we go. Friday the 13th. Duke of York is now involved with the China spy scandal. He's a guy, isn't he? He's now ceased all contact with this Chinese man who has been unnamed. However, it's turned out today that Nigel Farage has said he's going to use MP's immunity to name the gentleman tomorrow. Dotty Lady, I'm not sure. I've kind of got it in my head it was cancer, but I'm not 100% sure about that, unfortunately. But yeah, the Duke of York should be just locked away somewhere and just left. It's just trouble, isn't he? Meanwhile, IDF are back at it again in Gaza. 80 dead in airstrikes again by the old IDF, who apparently can do whatever they want with impunity. It's unbelievable. Hi, Dotty Lady, by the way. I've just noticed you're on. Oh, a few other people come on. Smiley Mac, Tough TV. Hope you're good. Quite a lot of chatting there as well. I hope I missed anyone out. Anyway, UK economy, these are for me to say, the UK economy fell for the second time in 2 months. Surprised? No, not really. Rachel Reeves was disappointed. I suppose she even knows what disappointment is. Well, she will do when she gets deselected and loses her job. Hopefully within the next week. The Royal Mail were fined £10.5 million for failing to deliver on time. I've had a few things that have gone missing completely in the Royal Mail and yet not been delivered on time. Don't use it a lot. Price of stamps has gone up tremendously. Maybe it's to pay for this fine, or maybe they'll just put them up again. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, Rachel Fries, indeed, tough. Saturday the 14th, that was yesterday. 5 shot dead near a migrant camp. A gunman then handed himself in. This is in the north of France, near Dunkirk. There were 2 people shot away from the camp, and then 3 people shot in the vicinity of the migrant camp. We don't know exactly who it is yet, but rumours are that it's a local French man who decided to take the law into his own hands, which is not what we need. South Korea agreed to impeach the president after his failed martial law attempts the week before, to jubilation in the streets. I wish we could do that with our Prime Minister. Can we impeach them? Can you impeach a Prime Minister? I don't think you can really, no. But we need to do something with Keir Starmer. Put him in a big bag and shake him up a bit, as Mum used to say. Need to put you in a bag and give you a shake. But Sunday the 15th, that's today. Hundreds feared dead in Marriott after a biblical rainstorm and cyclone with 140 mile an hour winds. The tragedy is it's a very poor island and the majority of people live in basically huts made out of bits of timber and corrugated iron and plastic. So it's been absolutely devastated. We seem to be getting a lot more extreme weather events, and people are blaming global warming. We all need to go electric. No, we don't. I'm sure there is an element of that, but I think the majority of it is the climate changes. We've just not been around for 10,000 years. Oh, chest infection and sepsis. Oh, there you go. So it wasn't cancer. So that means it was quite sudden then. Okay, I'd heard it was a long illness, that's what I wrote anyway. Anyway, tragedy nonetheless. Woman is shot dead in northwest London and 2 men injured, and a hunt is underway for the murderer. A man was seen running away, but police are still looking for them. Yvette Cooper, our Home Secretary, praise be, refuses to set out a timetable to stop the migrant boats from crossing the Channel, but brags that they've sent 13,500 migrants back to countries of origin. I wonder how many of them are Syrians in the last week. Hashtag just saying. Yeah, there's got to be something coming about that where it's ever so slightly massaged. You know how they do these things. A 2-year-old tragically killed by a stolen Porsche, and that was in the Midlands. And 2 Russian oil tankers are damaged, and I think one sunk after severe weather where they are sailing. And apparently because of the restrictions on Russia, they're not using registered oil tankers. They're basically using ones that should have been... Have you ever seen those ones where they ram them up onto the beach and then cut them up on the beach? Well, yeah, that's where these should be, because they've got no maintenance on them, they've got no registration, no documents really, and they're basically running a black market to get oil into Russia. Well, 2 of these have had a major incident, one of which reminded me of the Imoko Cadiz. I do mention the Imoko Cadiz a lot, and weirdly it features somewhere on the news. It's still a thing. I think it's kind of sticking out the water near the coast somewhere. And it was 1970s, maybe early 80s, and it was an oil tanker that literally split in half. And I think it was the first huge environmental catastrophe that was recorded, that was man-made. We've had many more since then, but yeah, the Imoko Cadiz always comes to mind when I think of these kind of things. But yeah, it's not good. And Russia, well, they're trying to be clever, aren't they? But it doesn't work because they have no sense of humour, because they're murdering scumbags. Even their own people, as we'll find out again shortly. Allegedly, obviously. I don't know. Miss Cooper is married to Ed Balls. Yeah, he was good at Strictly Come Dancing, wasn't he? And Widdicombe made him look... no, he made Anne Widdicombe look dainty. Right then, next up we've got the news that makes you go, all that kind of stuff. Where are we? Oh no, wrong one. This is where I have to change everything around, because otherwise I can't do it, so I'll switch that off, turn that on. Then we go on to here, we click that, we go up to that, we then go on to that, and then hopefully you should see a picture in a few moments. I'm in the wrong file. Oh, this is so complicated, it's unbelievable. Oy. Hello, I want to go in that file, thank you. Philomena Kunk. Oh, she's back on telly soon with a brand new series. I love Philomena Kunk. She comes out with some right good stuff, including the Titan 1C was the first, world's first single-use submarine, that kind of thing. I used to call it Titanic, but now I call it the Titanic. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just found something else I did, I could do that. Anyway, yeah, despite being the stuff of nightmares, Santa is the world's most popular home intruder. I'm not sure that's the real Santa Claus. I think that's just a man pretending to be Santa Claus for a photogenic purpose. We've got Jay-Z accused of rape in a civil lawsuit, which I mentioned before. And it's alongside Sean Diddy Coombs. The unnamed accuser says the assault happened at an awards after party in 2000. What was a 13-year-old doing at an awards after party? I mean, that's no defence for what they did, allegedly. But I'm just saying. Nuclear could cost twice as much as renewables. This is Australia. Experts have once again cast serious doubt over the viability of nuclear energy in Australia, with new CSIRO report, no idea, finding it would be likely to be twice as expensive than using renewables. But it's safer, it's more reliable, it works when it's dark, it works when it's not windy. The report concluded a mix of solar and wind power with firming was the cheapest form of energy production, while nuclear presents no unique cost advantage over other technologies. Not cost advantage maybe, apart from when you built the thing, it was there for years and years and years, whereas a wind turbine, well, their life isn't huge, particularly if they're in a windy area. And now this is a freaky picture. This is Lando Norris on the left and Oscar Pastrami, it's not his name but I like to call him that, on the right, and they've kind of done the face thing where they put the face either way, and it just looks really, really creepy. But they've won the F1 Constructors Championship, and the scary thing is, I like F1, just bear with me. When McLaren last won the Constructors Championship in 1998, so make you feel old, Lando Norris and Oscar Pastrami weren't even born. There weren't even a twinkle in the father's eyes. That's how long ago it is. And to me, it only seems like 10 years ago. But anyway. We seem to be getting a regular thing now of... We used to have a thing where it was electric cars catching fire. Now it's police cars that have up. You can't park there, mate. Sorry. Now everyone's going on about the British economy, it's tanking, retail, blah 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 blah, and they're not wrong. It is on its arse. But this is Australia. Nearly 500 employees will lose their jobs next month as retailer Mosaic Brands shuts down 160 stores across Australia. Dozens of Millers, Rivers and Nonny B shops will be shuttered, while the Katie's brand will be axed entirely. So yeah, there's rising costs of energy, rising tax burden in Australia, and various other contributions are causing a lot of retailers to reconsider. And I imagine there'll be a lot of that going on after Christmas and before April in the UK as well, for exactly the same reason. Should assisted dying be made legal for dementia sufferers? This is where the thin end of the wedge comes in. This is what I was talking about last week when I was on about it. And I wrote about it in the paper as well, and I said that my mother, 89, has said for a good number of years now that she feels like she's a burden on people because she needs carers coming round and she can't do anything and she's miserable and she's upset and all that kind of stuff. So she wants to take her own life. And I'm like, well, thankfully she can't because she can't move. So, you know, they're kind of peaceful on that one. And then other days she's happy and everything's hunky-dory. But what if we get to the stage where people will take advantage of that in the future? So maybe not my mother, but maybe me in, 30 odd years time or whatever. And I'm saying, oh, I'm a burden on people, I can't do anything. And assisted suicides come in. I'm not calling it assisted dying, I'm sorry. Assisted suicides come in because you have to administer it yourself. You're assisted to kill yourself. It's assisted suicide. And by then, 30 years down the line, assuming it does come in, it's been tweaked to include people who may be depressed, have mental health issues and all this kind of stuff. And this is what Australia is going through at the minute. So the question is, should Australia allow dementia sufferers to access voluntary euthanasia? A world-leading philosopher is urging Australia to change the law to allow people suffering with dementia to access voluntary euthanasia. He says assisted suicide should be legal provided the patient has requested it while intellectually capable, and that the refusal to permit it is a weakness in the legislation. No, it's not. It's save it. I know. I've never experienced anyone with dementia. I know. So I'm talking without the genuine experience of it. My mother, I don't think has dementia. She's just incredibly confused all the time. But other than that, I think she's fine. She can remember what she did yesterday or whatever. She can remember when she's been to the doctors and all that kind of thing. She does have flashbacks and thinking that she's been chatting to her dad, and she asks me why her dad hasn't visited her, and then has a go at me when I tell her her dad's died, that for not telling her that her dad's died, even though that was like 35 years ago. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there, but I don't think it's dementia, I think it's just confusion. And I know dementia is a horrible thing, but I don't think, you just open up a thin end of a wedge if you do that. My auntie has dementia, it's absolutely awful. I get that completely, but I don't think it should be included in any assisted passing act that's going on. I don't think it should, because as soon as you do that, you're then opening up to everything else, and that's the issue I've got with it. I get if you've got a major illness, say terminal cancer, stage 4 cancer, or whatever, and you know definitely that you haven't got long to live, and you're in so much agony and pain, and you just want to end the suffering for yourself. I get all that, but the problem is, it opens up this worm of cans, and like I wrote in the paper a week or two ago, you can read it online if you go onto Wigan Today. It kind of goes Logan Runny. Logan's Run was a movie in the 1970s where when you reached the age of 34, you went onto the carousel to move on to the next level of life, which basically meant they killed you. This was because there was no food, or shortage of food and resources and things like that, and there was too many people in the population. So by the age of 34, you went to the carousel and you were killed. Now Logan and his girlfriend decide they don't want to do that, and they become runners and they try and escape, and then the police chase them down, and they did a show about it and they did everything else. And that was set in the year 2234. So 210 years from now, that was set in. And I'm like, I'm not saying it is, but is this assisted suicide bill, is this the beginning of, in 200 and odd years time, people will be killed because they've reached an age in order to keep the planet going? Assuming there's still a planet left, obviously. And it just seems wrong to me. It's very serious. This is meant to be the fun bit. It's meant to be the fun bit. It's a bit where I'll laugh and go, all that kind of thing. And I'm talking about assisted suicide. Yeah, Alan, you agree with me. I appreciate that, because like I say, I've never gone through anything like that. I mean, thankfully, when family members have passed, they've passed fairly swiftly, and it's not been from any long, terrible illness. It's usually been a short illness, but a very small family, so that might be another reason why I've not experienced anything like this. And I've had no friends that I'm aware of have done that. Calderdale Cats, the bald man who was interviewed in GB News about the farmers' protest was Blue Van Man, as he's a YouTuber who swears a terrible lot in his videos. Good night, Calderdale Top Cat. I didn't know you were on. There you go. That was before. Anyway, I don't think they can pass the law for dementia. No, to be fair, what they're saying in Australia is that the law, let's move it up for you, should be legal provided the patient has requested it while intellectually capable, and that the refusal to permit it is a weakness in the legislation. And that's my point. It's like, if heaven forbid I get dementia, which is a possibility, as we all know. No, I mean, not just me, I mean anyone, not just me. Yeah, he's definitely going to get dementia, definitely, yeah. But no, it's, if you know you're getting dementia, you've got early onset dementia, what do you say then? Oh yeah, well, I'd like to take my own life in 2028. I mean, how does that work? Oh, he left me a message at the beginning of the chat, but I didn't understand it. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, good evening. Firstly, can I advise you on time of broadcast as you're doing news such makes me go, and the breaking one. You'll put it right straight away. Alright, okay. Yeah, well, I missed that completely because I was reading out my book, like, my book. But yeah, I mean, it's no doubt this is a subject we'll keep coming back to over the next few years. But it does worry me. And if you've got I don't know if you've got some kind of nervous disposition, or if you're paralysed, if you've got MS, if you're in a wheelchair, if it's just the thin end of a very large wedge. I get migraines. Oh well, where do we go? How far do we go? I don't understand the reasoning for it. The only way you could do it would be to say that, we're going to put this law in, but it can't be changed for 500 years other than to scrap it. And that's the only change you can do. Of course, then someone in 100 years would overdo it. I read it and I got some of it, but not all of it. I think complaining, and rightly so, that I was late tonight, which I can't argue with. But no, it is scary, and I do worry about where all this would lead at some point in the future. Anyway, shall we move on to something that's funny? We could do with something funny, couldn't we? Do you remember Little Britain? Do you remember the politician who always stood at the end of his drive of his very fancy house with his ever-loving wife, and he was apologising for misdemeanours? Well, someone's photoshopped it with Keir Starmer's head. Shortly after becoming PM, I slipped on a glacé cherry and fell into hospitality box at Arsenal. It was at this point that my clothes fell off and a kind gentleman offered to buy me new gear. I mean, ingenious. Whoever's come up with this, absolutely genius. But yeah, basically that's what it was about. It was this guy, this politician, coming out and apologising for a misdemeanour, and his wife, played by Matt Lucas, was just there smiling and nodding away, but then eventually kind of goes, kind of thing at him. So yeah, it was very funny. Of its time. In Australia, according to Food Bank Australia's 2024 hunger report, around 3.4 million households experienced food insecurity in the last 12 months. So people go on about having food banks in the UK, but they're in Australia as well. Meanwhile, I don't know what you call it, lucky or unlucky, because I think he lost about 5 metres of skin. But it was a wet race, cycle race. You can see the rain underneath the smiley face there reflecting on the light. And the cyclist, I don't know what happens, but he falls off his bike, and him and his bike slide, and they go over the line before the 6th place guy passes him. So yeah, fair play to him. Although, yeah, new skin please. Yeah, if they did that law to include... Nice to meet you, by the way. If they did that law to include dementia, it's open door for abuse. So if you sign it, then actually don't get dementia, it's open to abuse because the powers that be could diagnose all the... yeah, exactly. It's a worrying time. I mean, there's lots of stuff going on that's worrying, but that is one of them. Humour me. Formula 1. Shall we? Sorry, not sorry. Well, I'm a bit sorry. Nah, not sorry. No, I am a bit sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Max Verstappen has announced that he's got his girlfriend, Ms. Piquet, pregnant, and they've done... This is actually a clip from a video, and it's obviously meant to be a scan of the baby, and it's basically doing that with its hands, and its pedals, it's moving the pedals as well. So it's a 2043 world champion confirmed. Well, I'll be around for 2043 to see it happening. I don't know, but yeah. On this day in 1987, the Pogues featuring Kirsten McCall, 1987, Jesus, reached number 2 in the UK charts with their classic Xmas song, Fairy Tale of New York. And there's a picture there of Jaws from from James Bond. Not Jaws from James Bond. And I assume a Bond girl from one of the Bond films about to have her neck bitten off. The flagpole was hanging in a dangerous angle and people were warned to stay away as a historic bell tower's flagpole of nearly 40 years snaps in Storm Dara. Now, historic bell tower's flagpole of nearly 40 years. I don't think that's a historic flagpole if it's 40 years old. I mean, that's not historic, is it? It's a flagpole. It's like, well, we've had the same flagpole for 40 years. We've only replaced the shaft 4 times and the flag cable 5 times, and we've had 6 flags. But it's done us for 40 years. Yeah, the old joke from a programme I don't get, which is Only Fools and Horses. Meanwhile in Wigan, proposals to rate rents on Wigan council houses and garages will be voted on next week. Something to look forward to, isn't it? They're on about 2.5% because everyone can afford that, can't they? No. Right, these you really have to watch together, but it doesn't really matter. Constructors' Champions. So the very first one was Vanwell, and then we had Cooper, and then Ferrari first won in 1961, and they won again in the great year of 1964. It does go on to the next page as well, but you look at the bottom, and it's all Mercedes, 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 and then if you look at the next one, it's the bottom again, Mercedes, Mercedes, and then it's Red Bull, and then McLaren, which is great to see. And you can see McLaren last won it in 1998. Benetton won it in 1995, that was from Schumacher, and in 2009 that was the one-off with Braun who won it. But you've also got Brabham and what's that one? Matra and Tyrrell as well, and Williams won it when I started watching. I'm sure I was watching Formula 1 in 1970, 1971. I probably watched it before then as well, but I don't really have many memories of it, but I do like Formula 1. And the Drivers' Championship, Max Verstappen on 347 points, Lando Norris on 374, Charles Leclerc in third place at 356, and Oscar Piastri. It's one of the best Formula 1's seasons we've had for a long while. What's going to happen next year, and I don't know. I'm wondering if Red Bull have actually took the foot off the gas for development and are currently developing, have spent a lot of the time developing the 2026 car. So next year might be interesting, but come 2026 I imagine they're going to win it again. The penis, oh no it's not, it's Jeff Bezos. Sorry, I thought it was a Willy. Jeff Bezos says his space company Blue Origin will be bigger than the 2.39 trillion Amazon business. So the Blue Origin is his attempt of space travel, and it does look like a massive willy. Not that I know what a massive willy looks like, sadly. But he says, I think it's going to be the best business that I've ever been involved in. Oh, actually, no, there is a massive willy. It's Bezos, yeah. Although I do use his delivery service because there's nowhere else I can use because all the shops have shut down because he's undercut everyone and put them out of business. Now he's putting his prices up. That's how it works. Bully's 7-year-old finds a cat with the same rare eye condition and cleft lip, and it's like destiny exists. So this 7-year-old kid is being bullied at school because he's got 2 different coloured eyes, and he's also got a cleft lip as well, which looks like it's had an operation on it, which is good. And he's met a cat, and the cat's got exactly the same eye colour as him, brown on the left, or sandy colour on the left, and blue on the right as we look at it. And it's also got a cleft lip as well. I mean, you know, if things aren't meant to be, I don't believe in God, but I think, you know, sometimes fate steps in and helps you out. Do you want to see a magic trick? Camouflage pants are getting better and better. I mean, that is amazing, isn't it? Unless it's that guy who was cutting off with the forklift thing. Oh, here she is, Rachel Reeves. She's back. It seems to be a thing of working in fast food restaurants if you are a wannabe leader of a country. You know, Donald Trump did it, and I think Keir Starmer did a bit of it as well. And let's be honest, Rishi Sunak's kind of worked in restaurants as well to show how he's down with the people. Well, Rachel Reeves, it's a mock-up, yes, but do you want lies with that? She says in a McDonald's uniform. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, and then another one. Faulty Tears. Arsehole Faulty, Polly Shirker, Drivel Faulty, and Lamuel. Basically, it's a skit on Faulty Towers, one of the best comedies ever in history, with the Photoshop faces of Keir Starmer as Arsehole Faulty. His wife is played by what's she called? The fishwoman's wife, the fisherman's wife, woman, Deputy Prime Minister. I don't care. Lammy is played is done as Manuel, and Polly Shirker is Rachel Reeves. It'll come to me. Type it in quick. It'll come to me. Type it in quick. Someone type it in quick. Type it in quick. Come on, quick. Type it in quick. Someone type it in quick. No. If the brows don't fit, you must have quit. Angela Rayner, thank you, Toff. Yeah, there are people saying now that the person they've caught is not the right person, even though they found the gun with him. So, Stormer is separated from his wife and is living with the man. What? I think that's wrong one. When you turn Stormtrooper's helmet upside down, they are much less serious looking. I mean, that is, again, genius. I just love that. I mean, it's... I wonder if that's how they started it, and they thought, oh, flip it upside down, and it looked meaner. But that is hilarious. And I must admit, I thought exactly the same as the person who's commented on this. I thought this lawn silhouette was a woman who had toppled forward while gardening. That's exactly what I thought it was. And I'm like, are we trying to protect some woman's identity who's fallen over rather awkwardly in a garden? But no. If you look at it again, it's a camel. The feet are its head. The bum is its hump. Took me a while, but I got there eventually. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, if you watch the BBC News at 10, you would have not seen the tractors or any mention of the protest that was going on in London. I didn't think on and watch the London Tonight programme to see whether they mentioned it or not, but they were all the way down at Whitehall, hundreds of tractors either side of the cenotaph, and I'm pretty sure that the men whom the cenotaph is dedicated to, and the women, would be agreeing with the farmers under the circumstances of what's currently going on. I wouldn't mind, but the farmers are facing the wrong way as well. It's one way on that side and they're going the wrong way. Tickets all round, please. But yeah, the BBC don't mention it. Well, there you go. GB News are actually on the street level interviewing people and talking about it. So yeah, very, 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 very strange what the BBC is doing at the minute. Now, energy bills, there are plans for new tariffs with no standing charges. Now, I'm trying to figure out whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, because one of my main gripes is when energy prices go up, your standing charge goes up. You're like, hang on a minute. It doesn't cost any more money to send the stuff down the electricity cable or through the pipe, because it's cost more money to produce the electricity, or it's cost more money to import the gas. It still costs the same amount of money to transport that item, regardless of the cost of that item. And I've also noticed when the prices, very rarely, come down, the standing charge prices don't come down. So it's like a way of screwing us twice. So maybe, if the standing order is removed, and the tariff is for what you actually use, and they have to put it down, they would have to put down the standing charge as well. So I've actually, when I first saw this, thanks T, when I first saw this, I was thinking, well, that's a stupid idea. But now I'm thinking, it's actually a good idea. But I'm yet to be 100% convinced. Anyway, either way, on it. Let's go back to our alleged murderer. As I mentioned earlier on, the shooter in New York who shot the insurance CEO point blank range in a targeted attack with bullets marked with messages that kind of related to what was going on, was dobbed in by a McDonald's worker. So Burger King have gotten on the act, and it basically says, "We don't snitch," which I'm not sure of the viability of that, but I'm not even sure. I reckon they were hacked, to be fair. It won't make a difference, we get stuff no matter what. You're right, Dotty Lady, I have to agree with you completely. Right, how's this for the most disgusting thing you've seen ever? And if you watch me weigh myself, you've got 7 of them on the roll coming up in the next vlog when I get around to it. Jeez. But no, this is even worse than my body. This is glitter gravy, where they make gravy and then put edible glitter in it. I'm going to get rid of that. Sorry. If you're eating, I do apologise, but it is 11:15. What are you doing? Call for caution over lab-grown meat. And this is as the products are near the Aussie table. So this is Australia. A range of experts and scientists have called for caution as lab-grown meats get closer to Aussie tables, calling for transparency to consumers even. A standard-based approach has been proposed for food to meet pre-market assessment by Food Standards Australia and New Zealand. It's a no from me, says Dotty Lady. A glittery blue gravy, Alan Barton. Not just glittery gravy, not just blue gravy, sorry, glittery gravy. Now, this is true as well, isn't it? 1989, don't get in car with a stranger. 2008, don't meet people from the internet alone. 2019, Uber, order yourself a stranger from the internet and get into a car with him alone. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? I mean, there are a few safeguards, but still, it is weird, isn't it? It's a bit like we say to children, you know, don't talk to strangers and all that kind of stuff. And then we tell them that a big fat man is going to come into your house on Christmas Eve overnight, and sometimes go into the child's bedroom and leave the presents there, or more often than not, downstairs around the tree. And basically, yeah, Santa Claus is going to come into your house and empty his sack on the floor. And that's perfectly fine. But, you know, don't talk to strangers, don't let any strangers into the house, but Santa Claus is okay. Yeah, wait for Operation U-Tree, that's all I'm saying. Have you ever been browsing and seen something unusual in a shop? What's about this in Australia? A kangaroo actually walking around what looks like an equivalent of a B&Q, looking around the garden furniture. It's a clip from a video where it's just, you know, having a look round, hopping around, and very calmly just looking at the furniture and then moving on to the next bit of furniture and everything. I don't know how they got it out or not. I don't know how it got in there, but yeah, Australia, it's a fun place. Aussie tourists in a critical condition. Again, this is breaking news from not long ago. A group of Australian tourists are in critical condition in a Fijian hospital where what local authorities believed is suspected alcohol poisoning. It's believed up to 4 Aussie patrons of a resort on the Coral Coast in Fiji became unwell after ingesting an alcoholic beverage at the venue. Now, there was a tragic case a few weeks ago where many people, including some Britons, actually died from tainted alcohol, and the bar manager was arrested on suspicion of manslaughter or murder even. But yeah, it's scary when you go to these places and these little bars and little huts and things. You kind of trust in people who may not have the same standards we have for stuff that you're literally putting in your body. Anyway, I hope they pull through and make a full recovery. I'll keep you posted if there's any updates next week. Thousands of Brits face rat nightmare as they wait 28 days for a bin collection. Thousands of Brits could be attracting rodents after bin men being afforded more time off, has resulted in some having to wait up to 28 days to have festive rubbish taken away. Yeah, we've got a similar problem in Wigan where the black bins are emptied once every 3 weeks. But I don't actually fill my bin up every 3 weeks, because there's only me. So mine's done like every 6 weeks. And I've never had a problem with rats. I mean, you know, I like Ratty, he's cute. And Ratty McRatface as well, he's alright. So yeah, I don't have any problem with them, we get on like house on fire. If they chew through the electric cables, it probably will be a house on fire. Let's worry about that when that happens. The ultimate baddies of 2024 as Trump and Musk head for Christmas naughty list. Your beloved Daily Star can reveal the ultimate baddies of 2024 as Brits name the villains they believe should be given a lump of coal this Christmas. And yeah, they reckon Trump, who's won an election by considerably more than Keir Starmer, has been possibly awarded the lump of coal. He'll love that though. Nigel Farage is the new favourite to become Prime Minister after flurry of interest. Punters are whacking a bunch of cash on Reform leader and unwarranted milkshake recipients. Nigel Farage to be the next PM. Keir Starmer might have a few things to say about that though. Yeah, but then he'd probably wibble wobble and say, yeah, go on then, give it a go. I'm doing a crap job of it, you can't do any worse. Met Office bosses admit big problem over yellow weather warnings. The Met Office has said it's working to improve the weather warning system after concerns were raised that Brits were not taking yellow warnings seriously enough. That's because we have one every 2 hours. And it's just bad weather. Put your big coat on. Now, the Storm Dara that we had, yep, give you that one. That was pretty severe. It was definite yellow stroke amber weather warning, and obviously in some parts of the country definite red weather warning. Sadly a few people lost their lives, but we've had bad weather for ever. Why are we suddenly naming these storms? Is it to scare people? Because when we do get a yellow weather warning, I find my shop is empty, no one comes out, and I'm like, it's a bit of rain or it's a bit of wind, it's not the end of the world. When it's an amber one, yeah, okay, fair enough, just be cautious when it's yellow. Already humpback whales, record 8,000 mile swim across 3 oceans for a quick bonk. A male humpback whale has been documented swimming from the Pacific Ocean onto the Indian Ocean, racking up 8,106 miles in the process, according to a new study. And that's because he was feeling a bit horny. And he'd already been around all the whales in his local area, which would be like 5,000 square miles. DWP warning issued as 136,000 Brits forced to pay back £250 million in benefits each. Well, not each, in total. The Department for Work and Pensions has been forced to issue a warning to carers who are overpaid their benefits and being asked to pay them back. Now, if you're a carer, you ain't on a lot of money, and you're caring for someone, usually a loved one, and your life is shit. Now, if the Department of Work and Pensions have messed up and given you too much money, that's their fault. It's not your fault. They should pick up the bill for that. Okay, it might mean you get a reduction from now on, but you shouldn't have to pay it back if it's their fucking fault. Makes me so mad. White Christmas is confirmed as weather map shows UK to be blanketed by snow. Now, whether it's UK or whether it's just Scotland, I don't know. They class it as a white Christmas, even if there's one flake of snow falls on the Highlands of Scotland. But new weather maps have predicted that large swathes of the UK will be hit by a white Christmas with up to 3 centimetres of snow. It's about that much in it. Mind you, that will cause a lot of chaos around and about. Dotty Lady, I'm a carer, not working though. I haven't got time because I look after the grandkids on certain days as well. You're a very busy lady. Maybe we should change your name to Busy Lady. No. First, Elon Musk waxwork figure unveiled at Madame Tussauds. The Wax Figure Museum in New York unveiled the model, which is in the new space room, standing in his classic cross-arm pose. Elon Musk is wearing his signature blue jeans, a white shirt and a navy blazer. Oh no, I prefer Dotty. Fair enough, fair enough. Oh, why didn't that work then? I should have changed, got rid of Elon Musk and got another man in instead. Okay. Shameless boss of Thames Water defends indefensible. It says £770,000 bonus for failure. The shameless boss of crappy Thames Water, Chris Weston, has defended the firm's indefensible 770,000k bonuses after abject failure, making him the biggest drip in Britain. Well, hey, see what they did there. But yeah, Thames Water, all water companies should be privatised. Never mind the trains, just privatise. I mean, the trains were shit when the government ran them before. Council Killjoy says Schooly McSchoolface is not acceptable name for a new school. Fife councillor Dave Barrett preemptively ruled out the school being stuck with a humorous name as the council prepares to run a public consultation in the new year. Since when do the council listen to the public? Wigan Council did a public consultation during lockdown. Yeah, hey, look what we've ended up with. Oh, Jesus. Absolute no sense whatsoever. Gets worse though. Gary Lineker snubbed Celebrity Big Brother as BBC stars £50 million demand. Former England striker turned Match of the Day host stroke absolute pillock Gary Lineker turned down the chance to appear on Celebrity Big Brother by demanding a monstrous $50 million appearance fee. Just think mate, in 20 years time you'll be begging them to take you on there because no one knows who the you are, and rightly so. Absolute don't like Gary Lineker. Putin's top missile scientist eliminated after being assassinated in park. The latest suspected killing follows the assassination of Russian GRU military intelligence officer Nikita Klenov, 44, in October, killed as he drove his Hyundai Palisade USV close to his home. So Putin is basically getting rid of the people who he thinks haven't done the job properly. I dare say that whoever's in this system or working on this thing will be absolutely crapping themselves. Vladimir Putin's new meteorite power missile makes nuclear weapons redundant. The new Oreshnik missile travels 10 times the speed of sound and is even capable of blasting nuclear missile bunkers straight out of the ground. Putin says it's Russia's new focus, getting that thing up and running. Putin won't be behind it. Oh, of course not. No. Actually, no, yeah, you're right. Putin, great man. Yeah, absolute. Yeah, I think he's great. I would support him if I lived in Russia. Yeah, I don't want anyone giving Novichok to me or putting it on my door handle. Thank you very much. Might get the bailiffs though. That'd be fun. You can now flirt with AI Santa this Christmas and even go on his naughty list. Cuffing season is here, and you're not fond of finding a real life partner, then this dating site has the answer. You can now flirt with Santa, but it's an AI generated Santa. Yeah, it doesn't look like the real Santa who's currently in, well, not currently, but in the Grand Arcade in Wigan. Doesn't look like that. Oh no, Alan. I will never criticise Vladimir Putin. I think he's wonderful and a very good leader and fair with everyone. These unfortunate accidents that befall people, like committing suicide with 3 bullets in the back of the head, things like that are just unfortunate circumstances, and he's wholly innocent of anything like that. 2 arrested after Birmingham Fairground 180-foot ride collapses. We remain in Centenary Square in Birmingham this afternoon assisting the Health and Safety Executive after a number of people were injured in an incident involving a fairground ride. And you're like, what are you talking about, Willis? A woman shares Christmas fairground crash horror after plummeting from mid-air. Witnesses described hearing screams of terror as a Christmas fairground ride came crashing down on Thursday. Now, a woman has spoken on the horror being on the ride as it happened. I'm not a big fan of these complicated rides that are taken down and put up everywhere. Even when I was a kid, I wouldn't go on the waltzer, well, mainly because they spin around, I throw up everywhere anyway, but I wouldn't go on the rides. The only one I go on is the Dodgems. I won't go anything else. I just go in the arcades and play on the fruit machines, you know, the penny ones, like that, and then the little flippy ones with the ball bearings that went round and round and round, you know, to land them in the things. Because I was going to the fair before video games were a thing. A giant asteroid could hit Earth on Friday the 13th. No, not the one that's just gone, but very soon. If there ever's been a reason to be worried about Friday the 13th, it's the one coming in 2029. As a giant asteroid that is hurtling in the direction of Earth has a small chance of hitting us. I like the 2p push machines best. Yeah, they were cool as well. Or the old 1 penny ones. Ghostbusters ruling. Do estate agents have to declare if a house is haunted? No, because it's all BS. They're just making it up. There's no such thing as a haunted house. There isn't, because there's no such thing as ghosts. Which brings us to breaking news. This is news that's broken whilst I've been breaking the news. Or breaking my own. No. HMRC issues £4,000 tax warning as thousands of workers could be affected. New unit proves Starmer took Brexit voters for fools, says Boris Johnson. Well, he knows what he's talking about, doesn't he? Exact temperature your bedroom needs to be for a good night's sleep. Doesn't tell what it is because it's clickbait. But I find if I have the quilt all over me, I'm too warm. So actually take it off and sleep with a couple of sheets on me. And I sleep better when I'm cooler than I do when I'm warm. What's this? Tribute paid to Shining Star Labour Party Chair Stuart Mackenzie has died after a tragic death. Stalybridge being where my mother lives. People who get lonely as they get older have 15 bad habits. Well, yeah, being obnoxious is probably one of them. I choose to be on my own. I see enough people during the day at work. I don't want to come on to a house full of people, do I? You've stolen my happy retirement. The letter slamming Rachel Reeves. Breakfast staples that increase heart attack and stroke risk by 60%. Oh, I don't have breakfast. Well, I have 5 Jaffa cakes. That's not going to do me any harm, is it? Top Minister claims Brit don't want to know when Labour will stop What? Top Minister claims Brits don't want to know when Labour will stop illegal migrants. Oh my God. These people are useless. Inside the £1.1 million floating fort, which has been turned into a luxury hotel. It was the one that featured on Abandoned Engineering, one of the early series, and they said at the time it was going to be turned into a hotel, and it does look quite smart, to be fair. I've already covered the 2-year-old boy who was tragically killed in a hit and run involving a stolen Porsche. Crying and screaming heard from the scene of the fatal shooting that we talked about earlier as well. Russian oil tankers sink off the coast of Crimea. A drunk boy aged 16 is arrested over fatal shooting of the entire family in New Mexico. UK makes diplomatic contact with rebels running Syria and will send country £50 million. So we're sending £50 million to a prescribed terror organisation. Reform will name alleged Chinese spy linked to Prince Andrew. Family firm call on Chancellor to rethink inheritance tax changes. 5 remaining members of Bali 9 return home after 19 years. Nightmare before Christmas, as the storm is set to batter the nation with 70-mile-an-hour winds. Keir Starmer forms EU surrender squad to negotiate reversal of Boris Johnson's Brexit. Do you trust Yvette Cooper to get illegal migration under control? I don't trust her to tie my shoelaces. Oh yes, Blunkett, the blind minister from the last Labour government, former Foreign Home Secretary, says the government doesn't owe people if they can't be bothered to work. It's rich, isn't it? DWP carers allowance overpayment skyrocket after thousands hits with penalties. Vicar apologised after telling sobbing children Santa isn't real. Is that it? I got any more? That's not wicked anymore. Go. Hello? No, it's not wicked. Can we not go that way? Can we go backwards? No, we can go backwards. eBay introduces new fee for millions of users as changes affect buyers and sellers. Has that made enough money? Premier League issues statement after Man United penalty fury in Man City clash. There's a bid to build Britain's biggest Muslim cemetery. Last Christmas for British High Street, thanks to Labour it won't survive the new year, says the Daily Express. What sitting too much does to our bodies. I stand up all day at work, so I think I'm alright. Labour drops law requiring local support before street names changed. And then it's back to Rachel Reeves. So yeah, what have you been typing while I've been talking about this? Oh, nothing. Okay, fair enough. You can't argue with that. You can't argue with the facts there, mate. So anyway, that was the breaking news. We've been on for 1 hour 11 minutes, mainly because of my rants. Big shout out to everyone who's commented. So Sean J, Alan Barton, Aviva Mark, Toffs TV, Calderdale, Top Cat, I've mentioned Dotty Lady, yeah, and that's it. We've got 5 people watching at the minute. We're 36, 919 is the average viewer duration. We've got 3 likes. So yeah, that's it. I've got my thing to type up for the paper. Don't forget you can read it on Wigan Today on the website. You can also look at their social media. No, you can't. They don't put it on their social media anymore now. So you have to go to Wigan Today website. Click on news. Click on opinions, and you'll find my various write-ups that I've done there. If you can't get enough of my opinion on things here. Anyway, that is it. So thank you very much for watching. I'll be seeing you. Until next time. Bye! Usually the cat runs upstairs now, but I don't think... Oh, she is in. Yeah, she is. If she's not upstairs, she can't be asked. Don't blame her. Bye!